In the last section on what I called on-page or in-page factors, we talked about a lot of different things that go into posts, images, descriptions, titles, the URL, all that good stuff. And I want to talk about the description in particular. Now, sometimes you'll refer to this as the meta description. These are the 2 lines under all of these search results. I just did a search here for SEO. This 2-line, about 155 character string of words is called the meta description. The part in bright blue up at the top would be called the meta title, in case you ever hear those terms. The meta description is particularly important because it determines click-through rate, meaning people do a search for something and they typically just look at the top 5 or so results, basically whatever they can see before they have to scroll down. And based on those 2 lines of text, they're going to figure out which one is most relevant to their search, which sounds most compelling. Now, the meta description doesn't technically have any ranking factor within the Google search results, meaning that Google doesn't look at it for keywords. It doesn't say, oh, this description is more compelling. Typically, Google just takes a piece of the text within one of your posts and displays it as the description. So even though you're picking the meta description for your post, Google's not always going to take that. But just in case they do take your meta description, you want to have something that's going to make people click, right? You want to make it just like you would make any headline, right? Because most people only read the headlines before they read stories to decide what they want to read. And most people only read these 2 lines before they decide on clicking on something. So these 2 lines don't necessarily have any effect on the search rankings, but they do affect click-through rate because people click on these. And as we saw in the search metrics ranking factors, click-through rate is the most important factor within the search results, and this is going to continue into 2015. So if people keep on clicking on your result and it's the number 3 result, you're eventually going to move up to number 1. This guy, John Limbacher, he's not very well known within the SEO world, but he wrote a guest post where he talked about using the description as kind of a teaser to get people to click. Now, most people will write a description. It'll just be, a basic summary of their post. And Google will take the first 155 characters, like I said, and then put a little ellipsis here at the end. But what John Limbacher recommends doing is ending your description before Google would. So the best way to improve your SEO ranking is this, and then ... So you're cutting it off before Google would, and you're kind of luring people into clicking on it. It's almost like clickbait for your descriptions. And he says that he sees click-through rate for his websites when he does that go through the roof, for his words. Most SEO companies will recommend you do the 155, the full, as many words as you can get in there, but you can also try just leaving people kind of hanging, trying to figure out what it is that you're about to say, and then they'll click through, and then you end up getting moved up in the rankings. So that's a good little strategy for writing meta descriptions, is not to write as much as you can.